This episode is brought to you by Flex Dealer. Hey, welcome to this episode of MC on the Mic. This one is gonna freak the crap out of you. And fitting because it's happening right around Halloween. If you're listening at the time of recording, stay tuned. This one's gonna be crazy. Okay, guys, you're not gonna believe this. You will not believe this, and just stick with me here. I feel like my dad, when my dad introduced his first cell phone to my grandfather, and I'll never forget this. My grandfather was sitting at the kitchen table. My dad took his briefcase, you know, the kind that you had to like do the code, do your 3-digit code on each side, and he opens this thing up, and inside is this smartphone that's like the size of an iPad and as thick as an iPad. And my grandfather said, "What are you going to do with that?" And my dad says, "No, Dad, I can make calls from this thing." He said, "What are you talking about? Make calls from this thing?" I watch, beep, boop, boop, he calls somebody. I watched what looked like the ghost leaving my grandfather's body. He was in shock that this thing that was not tethered to the wall could make a phone call. And I say that because this is how I felt just a couple of weeks ago when I stumbled upon this new AI tool called Notebook LM by Google. Okay, you have to check this out. And here's the reason why it spooked me. Apparently, a lot of law students have been using this tool to basically upload notes. They can upload notes and different sources to Notebook LM, and then that becomes kind of the brain or the data set with which you can, you know, ask questions. You can really round out your note, you know, taking abilities and study for exams and things of that nature, which is cool in and of itself. Where it gets even spookier, though, okay, is based on the sources that you upload into Notebook LM. You can click one button and generate a 2-person, man and woman, conversation around all of the sources that you've created. They call it a deep dive. And I was skeptical at first until I stumbled upon an article that said the #1 podcast on Apple Podcasts right now is called Deep Dive. And it is legit just these 2 AI voices from Notebook LM having a conversation about whatever was uploaded into their, you know, into their source bank or whatever you want to call it. So I'm like, hey, I'm an early adopter. I'm kind of nerdy. I like technology. I got to try this out. And I'm going to share with you what happened in just a minute, but I want to set the stage here and say what I did is I took a copy of my bestseller, Don't Wait, Dominate, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Holy moly. Side note, the information in it is still hyper relevant to today. It's crazy that we think everything is moving so fast and nothing has changed all at the same time. Subtle side note, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, go grab the book. I take an entire PDF of the book just as a test. I throw it in as a source. I click a button, and guys, 7 minutes later, I have an 11-minute conversation in natural English with emotion and humor and explanations and new analogies and metaphors and discussion around the subject matter of my book. So we're going to listen to that. I want you to listen to this, listen fully. And then we're going to circle back when we're done here. And I want to share some thoughts on how you can take new and emerging technology, especially leaning into AI, to help you in your role in the dealership or as an allied partner. Okay, let's dig in and let's listen.
Ever feel like breaking through online as an auto dealer is like, well, trying to sell ice to penguins. You've got Michael Cirillo's Don't Wait, Dominate on your reading list. Smart move. So
consider this deep dive your cheat sheet to turning those digital dreams, you know, into roaring sales.
Yeah, and what's cool is that Cirillo gets it. He knows you're not starting from zero. You've got a website. You're probably dabbling in email marketing, maybe even dipping your toes into the world of AdWords. Cirilla's point is, you probably already have the tools.
It's like that overflowing kitchen gadget drawer we all have. We think we need that fancy avocado slicer, but turns out a regular knife works just fine if you know how to use it.
Exactly. Cirilla says it's about strategy, not just spending. And here's where he flips the script. All that noise, all those generic dealership websites. That's your golden ticket. Wait, what? The internet being a car sales free-for-all is a good thing.
Think about it. You're bombarded daily by ads that all blend together. Same tire discounts, same pushy vibe. But imagine you stumble upon a dealership offering genuine value expert advice. Maybe a guide on how to actually enjoy the often dreaded car buying process. Or even just a website that doesn't feel like it's stuck in 1999.
You'd practically hand over your credit card number, right?
Probably.
Cirilla uses this great analogy about Leave It to Beaver days. Back when radio ads were actually novel because they were surrounded by, actual content. Now it's all ads all the time.
And because we're so used to tuning out the noise, anything authentic cuts through like a hot knife through butter. Which brings up another point Cirilla makes. Today's car shoppers, they're not like your grandpa who walked into a dealership knowing nothing.
They're coming in armed with Carfax reports, online reviews, and probably a spreadsheet comparing financing options.
They're used to the Amazon experience. One-click ordering, personalized recommendations, the works. Then they land on most dealership websites, and it's like stepping back in time.
Cue the dial-up modem sounds.
Right.
Cirilla says this is where dealerships can learn LAT from other industries. Like, how does Amazon personalize your shopping experience? They track what you click on, what you buy, even how long you hover over a product image.
Imagine a dealership doing that. You're browsing SUVs. Maybe lingering a little longer on the safety features because you've got a new little one on the way.
Yeah.
Suddenly you get a personalized email with a video walkthrough of the exact SUV you were looking at, highlighting its top-rated safety features.
Talk about feeling seen. But instead, most dealerships are stuck in this we need to appeal to everyone mindset.
Right.
Cirilla compares it to wanting cake. You wouldn't just ask for cake, would you?
You'd be specific. Chocolate cake with raspberries. Maybe a gluten-free vanilla cake. You get the idea. Just like with baking, achieving your online goals requires the right recipe. And just like you wouldn't frost a cake before it's baked.
No shortcuts.
Right.
Cirilla is big on building something sustainable, not chasing those flashy but ultimately empty marketing schemes.
Which brings us to one of Cirilla's most impactful points, attracting the right customer, even if it means repelling others.
Now, this sounds kind of crazy in the car sales world, right? Aren't more leads always better? But Cirilla uses this brilliant example of Skechers.
They hit a gold mine with those tone-up sneakers a few years back. Remember those? Targeted directly at moms who wanted to, well, tone up while they walked. They weren't for everyone, and that was the point.
My wife was all over those. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, what's so special about these sneakers? But Skechers understood their target audience. They weren't afraid to polarize to attract the right customer.
And Cirilla argues dealerships can do the same. He points to Zulily, that online retailer that's like a members-only club for moms. They make you jump through hoops to even browse their site.
But at first, seems insane. But it ensures they're attracting only the most engaged customers, the ones who are actually going to buy those adorable kids' clothes.
It's about quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And speaking of quality, that's where market segmentation comes in. Right.
Okay, so how do we actually do this whole segmentation thing? I can already hear some of you saying, look, I sell cars, not market research degrees.
And Cirilla hears you. He actually lays out this super practical exercise in the book. You want to grab a pen and paper for this one. But before we dive into that, think about how the big guys, the OEMs, do it. They're masters of market segmentation.
True. That Ford F-150 commercial with the rugged dudes building a cabin in the woods, that is not speaking to the same folks as, say, a sleek Toyota Camry ad showcasing a stress-free commute.
Exactly. Each vehicle and its marketing is laser-focused on a specific type of buyer. And Cirilla wants you to apply that same laser focus to your own dealership. Who are your ideal customers? What makes them tick? What are their pain points? Once you know who you're talking to,
you can stop wasting time and money shouting into the void. Cirilla then throws another curveball. Over-deliver value. Always. Okay, I see you raising an eyebrow out there. Give away my best stuff for free, but hear 'em out.
this is where that old-school car sales mentality can really hold you back. See, Cirilla argues that in today's world, information is value. By offering genuine helpful content up front, You're not just giving away secrets.
You're building trust.
Exactly.
It's like the difference between a used car salesman with slicked back hair and a shady past.
And that friendly neighbor who helps you change a flat tire, even though they own the auto shop down the street.
You're going to trust the neighbor with your car troubles, right?
Every time.
Cirillo even points out how many people now turn to third-party sites for car buying advice. That's a missed opportunity for dealerships. You are the experts, after all.
Right. He talks about how he built his own successful business by offering tons of free, valuable information. It's about showcasing your expertise, not hoarding it, shifting from that transactional mindset to a relationship-building one.
Okay, so we're creating valuable content, targeting specific customer segments. What about actually getting people to see it? Cirillo tackles this head-on with his "you don't have a traffic problem, you have a value problem" argument.
It's so tempting to chase those guaranteed traffic schemes.
Yeah.
But what Cirillo wants you to realize is that traffic without a purpose is just noise. It's like inviting 1,000 people to your party, but forgetting to provide any food, drinks, or music. They're going to leave pretty quickly.
And tell their friends your party was a bust. Yeah. So, instead of fixating on vanity metrics like website hits, Cirillo wants us to focus on providing something worth sticking around for. That means optimizing your website, your content, your entire online presence to give visitors what they're actually looking for.
And that's where the magic of SEO, organic traffic, comes in.
Hey, does your marketing agency suck? Listen, before we hop back into this episode, I know you know me as the host of the Dealer Playbook, but did you also know that I'm the CEO of Flex Dealer, an agency that's helping dealers capture better quality leads from local SEO and hyper-targeted ads that convert? So if you want to sell more cars and finally have a partner that's in it with you that doesn't suck, visit flexdealer.com. Let's hop back into this episode.
This is about showing up in search results when potential customers are actively looking for what you offer.
But isn't paid traffic, like those Google ads, important too?
Absolutely. Cirillo's not saying paid traffic is bad. He actually compares it to opening the floodgates of a dam. It's a powerful surge of immediate visibility.
But unless you've got something amazing waiting on the other side of those floodgates, those visitors are going to wash right back out.
Precisely. You need both. Think of SEO as building a strong foundation for your online presence, while paid traffic is like turning up the volume on your message once you know it resonates.
This is where Cirillo gets even more interesting, he says, and I'm paraphrasing here. Don't just guess, get data-driven. This is where many dealerships fall short. They're relying on gut feelings or outdated advice instead of tapping into the goldmine of information at their fingertips.
And you, my friend, love a good data deep dive. Cirillo's right there with you. He wants you to go beyond those basic Google Analytics dashboards and dig into the good stuff.
He specifically mentions the channels report and the search queries report. These tools tell you exactly where your traffic is coming from and what those visitors are looking for on your site.
It's about becoming your own data detective. You wouldn't trust a mechanic who didn't look under the hood, would you?
Not a chance. Same goes for your online presence.
You got it.
Cirillo wants you to be empowered, not intimidated, by data.
That's true. And this is where Cirillo's core message, that don't wait, dominate energy, really kicks in. He's all about taking action. Because what good is all this knowledge, all this data, if you don't actually do anything with it?
It's like having a garage full of tools, but never actually getting around to fixing that leaky faucet.
Yeah.
Or in this case, maybe it's more like having a showroom full of amazing cars, but no one knows how to find you online.
And I know, taking action can be scary, especially when you're running a business, when livelihoods are on the line. But Cirillo argues that the bigger risk is doing nothing. While you're sitting there tweaking your website, your competitors are out there connecting with your customers.
They're handing out those metaphorical snacks and drinks at the party.
Exactly.
Cirillo's not advocating for reckless action, though. He's all about breaking down those big, scary goals, like dominate online, into manageable steps.
He even suggests starting with a simple question. What's one thing I can do today to move the needle? Maybe it's identifying your top 3 customer segments, like Cirillo showed us. Or maybe it's spending 15 minutes exploring your Google Analytics.
That's doable, right?
Totally.
Cirillo wants to empower you, not overwhelm you. He emphasizes celebrating the small wins along the way, which I love. Because let's be honest, the online world can feel like a moving target. It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing and lose sight of your own goals.
Which brings us to one of Cirillo's most intriguing points. He says, content isn't king. Eyes are king.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
we just spent all this
Right.
time baking this amazing cake, but now we're not supposed to worry about people actually seeing it.
But here's what Cirillo's really getting at. It's not enough to just create great content.
Mm.
You have to make sure the right people are seeing it. He challenges you to think about visibility. Are you showing up in the search results when those ideal customers are searching for what you offer? Are you sharing your content on the platforms where your target audience is actually hanging out?
It's about meeting your customers where they are. You wouldn't try to sell snow tires in Hawaii.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't promote your amazing new electric car features to someone who collects vintage muscle cars. Cyril wants you to be strategic, to think like a marketer, not just a car salesperson.
So, as you dive into Cirillo's book and start implementing these strategies, remember what he said. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it will never come. Start small, experiment, track your results, and most importantly, keep learning.
The online world is constantly evolving, which means there's always something new to discover. And who knows, you might even surprise yourself with what you're capable of achieving.
Now, here's a final thought from us as you embark on this digital dominance journey. Cirillo talks a lot about building trust with your online presence, but what about repairing trust? Think about those negative perceptions people have about car salespeople. How can you use your online presence to not just meet, but exceed expectations and create a truly customer-centric experience? That's something to ponder as you navigate this exciting new world of online car sales.
Tell me your mind is not blown. Okay, there's a couple of things. Obviously, the legal disclaimer that we still have to talk about is it wasn't like 100% accurate. There were some AI creative liberties in there. But what blows me away, first and foremost, is it starts off, she's like, like, we're going to talk about Don't Wait Down. She's like got a little tongue in cheek, like, oh, let's see what this is all about. Second thing is, they pronounce my last name correctly. And they talk about me like we went to high school with each other. You know, Cirillo brings up another good point. I thought, isn't that interesting? This level of humanness, dare I say, that is getting baked in. 6 months ago, we weren't there. Today, we're not fully there. But if that's how far we've come in 6 months, imagine what the next 6 months is going to mean on top of this at time of recording. If you're listening into the future, bro, like, you might be listening to my voice and it's not even my voice anymore. I'm on a beach somewhere sipping my favorite margarita, watching my kids, build sandcastles or something like that, because that's where AI, I think, is headed. So that's what stands out to me. The third thing that stands out to me as I listen through what this AI created is that they explained deeper with their own analogies some of the concepts that we talk about in the book. And I just don't understand. Like, my brain, first time I listened, it was like my dad, like I was saying earlier, like the ghost got sucked out of my body. I could not believe that this is how far we've come in such a short period of time. Then my mind went here, okay? And this is where I want to wrap my arms around you, my beloved DPB gang, and let's all sing Kumbaya for a minute. But to suggest this, so many people are worried that AI is going to replace them. And my official stance on this is that AI will not replace work or jobs that require a soul. And I mean, there's a cascading subset of topics that we could get into there. But when I listen to this, it almost challenged my own viewpoint of that position. It challenged me in a way to consider, holy smokes, like, where are we headed? And I know that worries a lot of people. And what immediately comes to my mind is this as an encouragement, as the warm blanket, as me encouraging you, which is, this is going nowhere. It's here to stay. It's here to evolve. It's here to get better and faster. There will be aspects of the work you do today that undoubtedly can be replaced by AI. So what can you do? What's in your control? I am not a fan of sit and sulk and, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? I'm going to lose my job. What about my family? I am pro. What can I do with what's in my control? And so I want to strongly encourage everybody that's listening or that watched this episode to say, do I feel familiar with AI and with a new and emerging technology? If answer is yes, lean in harder. If the answer to that question is no, start to lean in. Carve out 15 minutes a week. Honestly, carve out 30 minutes a month to start educating yourself, to start thinking through questions like, what could I do with this? As it pertains to the work I do today, how can I see using something like this to speed me up, to help me do research faster, to help me consume information and arrive at a place of understanding more quickly and efficiently? My encouragement is that you do those things. My encouragement also, with a side promise, is if you don't, you are going to get replaced. The day probably will come when robots are changing oil in vehicles and detailing them. And like, can you imagine the imaging technology to take a picture, like a scan of a vehicle's interior, and then have robots precisely clean every nook and cranny of the interior of a vehicle and the exterior? I mean, it's coming, guys. Somebody is already working on it. And so my encouragement is that you lean in, carve out some time. You matter that much that you deserve to give yourself permission to educate yourself. Because as long as you are here, it's our responsibility, it's your and my responsibility to acquire new information, new ideas, new creativity about the things that we do so that we can deliver an evolved customer experience, so that we can be in a position of power, so that we can be the victor, not the victim. This world does not need any more victim mentality. It needs people who realize that with the air in their chest and the thoughts in their brain, they can go and do, with all of the tools and resources available, some crazy, crazy things. That's what I hope. I hope this inspired you. Is it spooky? Absolutely. But listen, if you want to get a free copy of my best-selling book, I would love to send you out one. All you have to do is go to flexdealer.com. Right there on the homepage, you scroll halfway down the page, you're going to see a big section for getting a free copy of my book. Yes, it is free. I don't do one of those weird shipping and handling funnel ideas where I try and upsell you a $49 course on the backside. Although, man, I don't know, maybe one. Nah, I won't. Go to flexdealer.com. Scroll halfway down the page, put in your information, and I will send you immediately a free copy of my best-selling book, Don't Wait, Dominate, so you can check it out for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this episode of MC and the Mic. I hope you are enjoying this podcast. Boy, do I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing your posts on social. Keep it up. If you haven't yet subscribed to the pod, holy smokes, what are you waiting for? We are on a mission to bring you the most practical information we possibly can to help you level up in your career in retail automotive. And until next time, keep the playbook open and dominate. Thanks for being here. Hey, thanks for listening to the Dealer Playbook Podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please subscribe, share, and hit that like button. You can also join us and the DPB community on social media. Check back next week for a new Dealer Playbook episode. Thanks so much for joining.